Year 2 and welcome to your Thursday's reading lesson. We're going to be carrying on with our Flat Stanley book today, so get ready as I share my screen. Okay, so you'll see here we are carrying on reading the story of Flat Stanley. Just a little recap for those of you, because those of you that were reading it before half term as well, before the Christmas holidays, we've just got to the point where Stanley was being rolled up to be taken out with his dad. So his dad would roll him up into a big ball, into a big kind of roll along kind of thing, and put him under his arm and take him out with him and Arthur when they headed out on their journey. So let's see if we can remember some of these things about our text. So who wrote our class text? Who was the author? Use the information around to help you with that. Okay. Is this fiction or non-fiction? How do you know? And how is this book different to newspaper articles we have read? So write down some of your answers and pause the screen now. Okay, well done. So who wrote our class text is Jeff Brown. So that's one of our authors that we can remember and think about is Jeff Brown. Is it fiction or non-fiction? Well, it's fiction, isn't it? It's make-believe. It's not real because in real life, boys don't become flat like this and they can't then walk around as a flat piece of card like that. And that's how we know. And the book is different to newspaper articles because newspaper articles are true and they're written in columns and they have photographs and headlines and all those kind of things. Meanwhile, a story isn't written in that way and is also can be made up as well. Okay, let's move on with today's learning. So I'm going to do a quick reading challenge. So suffixes are groups of letters which we add to words which change the meaning. Some examples are full, ness, lee, meant and less. So for example, we've got the word pain. So we could say I am in pain, but when we make it painful, we'd say, oh, my leg is feeling painful today, or I've got a painful earache. Okay, so they change the meaning of these words. So we've got quiet, quietness. Okay, so I was sitting in the quietness of my garden. I was feeling ill, or I have an illness. I'm feeling in a slow mood today, or I walked slowly down the road. They kind of change the meaning, not fully, not 100%, but they can make it, we've got to use it in a different context to make it make sense. So I am going to move my screen down like that. And I want to see how many of these words you can read in a minute. So when I say go, you're going to pause your screen and you're going to read these words and then write down or talk about what these words mean. Go. Okay, fantastic. And because we can't go through all of these words here and now, come and send some to year2@thepalmeracademy.com and I'll have a look at them and see if you were correct with your definitions of what they meant. Well done. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to carry on today with our reading and you can read along with me or you can listen to me read. It's completely up to you this morning, okay? So, one Sunday afternoon in the street, they met an old college friend of Mr. Lambchop's, a man he had not seen for years. What does college mean? Does anyone know? College is where you go after school. So when you go and do more studying and more learning, you go to a place called a college when you're like a late teenager, maybe going into adulthood, okay? So it was a friend that Mr. Lambchop had known when he was at college, when he was just after school. But he hadn't seen him for lots and lots of years. Well, George, I see you have bought some wallpaper, the man said. Going to decorate your house, I suppose. Was it wallpaper? What might he thought was wallpaper? Remember, he has Stanley rolled up under his arm. Have a think about that. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Wallpaper, said Mr. Lambchop. Oh, no, this is my son, Stanley. He undid the string and Stanley unrolled. How do you do? Stanley said. Nice to meet you, young fella, the man said. He said to Mr. Lambchop, George, that boy is flat. Smart too, Mr. Lambchop said. Stanley is third from the top in his class at school. Theory, said Arthur. This is my younger son, Arthur, Mr. Lambchop said, and he will apologise for his rudeness. Arthur could only blush and apologise. Mr. Lambchop rolled Stanley up again, and they set out for home. It rained quite hard while they were on the way. Stanley, of course, hardly got wet at all, just around the edges, but Arthur got soaked. Oh, I like this bit of the story. It's quite funny. Okay, so I've got 3 questions for you to just think about quickly and write down your answers. Why did the man think they had purchased wallpaper? So why did he think they had bought wallpaper? Why do you think Arthur said, "Phoebe"? And why did Stanley not get wet? Okay, pause your screen and write down the answers. Okay, fantastic, well done. So, why did the man think they had purchased wallpaper? Because they had they had Stanley, who was all flat, rolled up under his arm. And that's what we do with wallpaper. We roll it up, don't we? So we had him under the arm. Arthur said "phooey" because he was sick and tired of them talking about Stanley and saying how clever Stanley was and how he was the smartest in the class, the top in the class, and all that. And he was like, "Phooey, I don't care." So that's why he said "phooey." And Stanley didn't get wet because he was rolled up. So he was nice and safe under Mr. Lambchop's arm. But poor old Arthur, he got soaked. So today we're going to have a look at vocabulary, and we're going to look at what these words mean. We're going to match them to the pictures, and then we're going to write a definition of what they mean. Tell me exactly what it is that they mean. And we can't just write "apologise" means apologise, because if I don't know what apologise means, I won't know what it means in the answer either. So let's look at the word apologise. Apologise. Where have we heard it before? So where have you heard it before? What does it mean? What can you remember that you may have heard it? What situation? Write it down and pause if you need to. Let's find it in the text. So if we go back to the text, "This is my younger son Arthur," Mr. Lambchop said, "and he will apologise for his rudeness." So apologise for his rudeness. He's going to apologise for his rudeness. So before it said, "This is my younger son Arthur, and he will apologise for his rudeness." So he's got to apologise for being rude. So what do you think apologise might mean? Okay. The other words you're going to be looking at are blush. So if we look in the text at the sentence with blush in it, Arthur could only blush and apologise. Smart. So we've got smart too, Mr. Lambchop said about Stanley. Stanley's the third from the top in his class at school. That's where smart comes in. And our last word is soaked. Stanley, of course, hardly got wet at all, just around the edges, but Arthur got soaked. So have a little think and see what you think those words might mean. When I say go, pause the screen, match the words to the pictures, and then write your definitions. Tell me what apologise means, blush means, soaked means, smart means. You can draw your own pictures of what apologise means, of what blush means, of what smart and soaked means, and then send them to us as well. So that'd be brilliant to see. Off you go, pause. Okay, fantastic. First of all, let's do our matching. So apologise. Apologise for your rudeness. It means to say sorry. To say I didn't mean to do it, I shouldn't do it, I won't do it again. Blush. Maybe when you're embarrassed or you're a bit upset, you might blush, you go red, and you probably would do it if you've done something wrong and you want to say sorry for it. So blush would be this little emoji here that's gone all red. Smart means clever, okay? So you might get a really good grade in a subject, or you might do really well on a test, and that would show that you're smart. But I think that everybody is smart in different ways. It's not just about being the best in the class, it's about being, people can be really smart about people's feelings and really understand what it means to be kind. So it's not just one meaning of smart, but it means about being clever and using your mind. But smart is in lots of different ways. And soaked means you're completely and utterly wet. So when you get soaked in the rain, your clothes would become really hard, wet, and then go through into your skin and things like that. So soaked means wet. It doesn't just need to be with water. Some things can be soaked with other things as well. So apologise means, let's write some sentences. We've got to say sorry. Blush means to turn red. Soaked means to get wet through. And smart means being clever or intelligent, which is another word I like to use. Okay, so They're the answers. If you got them right, fantastic. If you need to do some editing, absolutely brilliant. And remember, you can send us your work if you want to. Now, can you now write some sentences using the new words? And could you even turn it into a story? So you write a little story, write a little bit paragraph, all about something that you want to think of, but try and use these words: apologise, blush, smart, and soaked, and any other words in the text that you've heard today that you like to use, or any of the suffixes that we spoke about at the beginning. And remember to send all of your challenge answers to us and we will have a little look at them. Enjoy your reading lesson today. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.